hit subscribe, and make sure you click the link in the description below so that you're signed up for our email list. Believe it or not, for reasons that I can't explain, YouTube does not post a number of our videos. I'm not quite sure why. Maybe because I said a few things they didn't like about the response to the COVID pandemic. Maybe I said a few things they didn't like about the election of 2020. Maybe they don't like the idea that I talk about the hypocrisy of Democrats who've been challenging elections since 2000. I have no idea. All I know is if you want to make sure you don't miss any of our videos, click the description below, sign up for our email list. Do not miss any videos. Now, you remember when Ibram X. Kendi, formerly Ibram Rogers, was asked to define racism?
You talked about the importance of defining racism, but unless I missed it, which is possible, I didn't hear your personal definition. Is there one that you would offer us? Like, how do you define racism?
Sure. So racism, I would define it as a collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas. Sure. A collection of racist policies that lead to racial inequity that are substantiated by racist ideas. And anti-racism is pretty simple, using the same terms. Anti-racism is a collection of anti-racist policies leading to racial, anybody want to take a guess? Equity that are substantiated by anti-racist ideas.
Now, if that made sense to you, you have as many problems as this dude has. Now, he was asked what it means to be an anti-racist. And I'm still trying to get my arms around it. Maybe you can help me out here.
Well, in studying the history of people being racist, what we experience and see today isn't actually that different as to what's happened in history. In other words, people commonly say that I'm not racist when they say and do something that actually most people would consider to be racist. But to be anti-racist is first to acknowledge those times in which we make a mistake, in which we even being racist, but more importantly, to recognize the racial groups as equals, to seek to undermine and eliminate racial disparities and injustice and create equity and justice for all.
What? Re-rack that and let's play that again.
Well, in studying the history of people being racist.
And studying the history of people being racist. You know, people owning slaves, people refusing to let black people sit at lunch counters, people denying black people the right to vote, people that are applying literacy tests or grandfather clauses so they can't vote, people sticking dogs and water hoses on black civil rights workers, you know, things like that. In studying the history of racism, I find that
what we experience and see today isn't actually that different as to what's happened in history. In other words, people commonly say that I'm not racist when they say and do something that actually most people would consider to be racist.
So what people are doing today that people say is not racist is exactly the same thing that they've done in history, you know, by lynching blacks and putting crosses on their lawns. It's really quite the same thing. There's nothing that's any different. And notice this host doesn't say, can you give me an example?
But to be anti-racist is first to acknowledge those times in which we make a mistake, in which we even being racist.
Could you give me an example of what you mean about the times we, quote, make a mistake? Give me an example. Just give me some examples. She doesn't say a word. And notice how pensive she is. This is deep. This is not only deep, this is deep depth.
But more importantly, recognize the racial groups as equals, to seek to undermine and eliminate racial disparities and injustice and create equity and justice for all.
In other words, as John Kerry once said,
in America, you have a right to be stupid.
I have no idea what this man is saying. Have you gone to MyPillow.com and purchased your MyPillow products? You haven't? Even though the great Al Dursky, the face of white supremacy, the sage from South Central, the Prince of Pico Union, the Czar of Common Sense, Don Lorenzo, has suggested that you do so, and doing so supports our show and supports our mission. I'm distraught. Call the number on the screen or go to mypillow.com and be sure and use promo code ELDER. And they've got all sorts of products, over 100 products, including, as I mentioned, the My Slippers. Very comfortable, even soothing. Not quite as soothing as a foot massage, but close to it. They've got the MyPillow sheets, Giza jean sheets made with the finest cotton in all of the world. Got to pronounce that word very slowly. Giza dream sheets. You don't want to say the wrong thing. And then there's the towels, the MyPillow towels. They come in a bunch of different colors. And unlike a lot of the towels you get in the stores, they actually are absorbent. The idea is to have towels not only that look good, and they do, not only that smell good, and they do, not only that are in different colors, and they are, but that actually work, that are actually absorbent. So, mypillow.com, promo code ELDER, or call the number on your screen. When I had my radio show, I invited Mr. Ibram X. Kendi, former Ibram Rogers, on my show to explain what anti-racism is and what systemic racism is. And not only did he refuse to come on my show, but he said in our Twitter exchange, I'm not coming on the show of people who have minstrel shows. So not only am I the black face of white supremacy, I also host, according to Ibram X. Kendi, a minstrel show. The reason he didn't come on my show is the same reason that Robert Kennedy, having been invited numerous times on William F. Buckley's old firing line show, never came on. When asked why Mr. Kennedy, former AG and former New York Senator, refused to come on Buckley's show despite numerous invitations, William F. Buckley said, and I quote, "Why does the bologna avoid the grinder?" That brings us this TikToker who apparently is not real pleased with white people.
I call y'all white people for what I see y'all. Y'all are devils. Y'all are parasites. Y'all are mosquitoes. And when you look at a mosquito, you see that mosquitoes latch onto other life forms, drain the blood from that life form to get nutrients so it can power itself.
Now, would Mr. Kendi refer to him as a racist or as an anti-racist? Because he's being racist against white people, and white people frequently are racist because they say they're not racist, which means they are in fact racist. So would he categorize this gentleman to be a racist or a racist anti-racist or an anti-racist racist?
That's exactly what y'all are, because every single thing that y'all do is to drain the life out of everything. And when we look at the advent of y'all devils, since the moment y'all were created, y'all have caused destruction, chaos, and deception.
Since the advent of y'all devils. Please don't tell me this guy teaches sociology at UC Berkeley.
On our earth. When we welcome y'all in to our kingdoms.
When we welcome y'all in to our kingdoms. You mean when African chieftains sold blacks in slavery to European and Arab slavers? You know, most slaves remain in Africa, having been captured in conquest between various warring African tribes. And there was a huge business of selling captured slaves to white European slavers and to Arab slavers. The slave trade could not have existed without the complicity of Africa, because these white Europeans did not have immunities to the various diseases that they would contract by going into the interior of Africa. And also think about how inefficient it is to capture them one at a time. No, they were sold en masse to European and to Arab slavers by African chieftains, and the majority of these slaves remained in Africa. So when he says we invited y'all into our kingdom, exactly what is he talking about?
Our lands, as eternal people, what did y'all do? Y'all came in, y'all caused destruction, y'all caused altercations amongst us as a people and amongst our civilization. Therefore, we banished y'all, we exiled y'all from the kingdom. This is the true story of the Garden of Eden.
Like I said, he probably teaches sociology at UC Berkeley. Hope you enjoyed that video. The full show is available to watch right now on Epoch TV. Just click the link in the description below to learn more, because we've got a country to save.